Elon Musk walked into a small diner just outside Amarillo, Texas, wearing jeans, a Tesla t-shirt, and a MAGA hat. It wasn't the kind of place that made headlines, just a simple stop for locals and tired travelers. The flickering neon sign barely lit up the dusty parking lot, and inside, the air smelled like coffee and bacon. Conversations buzzed quietly as people hunched over their plates. Elon wasn't there to make a statement. The hat wasn't even something he thought much about. It had been sitting in his truck since someone gave it to him at a conference. Today, it just happened to be the easiest thing to grab for shade from the blazing Texas sun. He slipped into a corner booth, ordered waffles and coffee, and planned to enjoy a peaceful afternoon far away from the noise of Silicon Valley. The calm didn't last long. The door jingled open, and in walked a group of bikers, 6 of them, dressed in leather jackets, their boots heavy against the tile floor. They laughed loudly, commanding the room without trying. Most people stole quick glances and then looked away. But Elon didn't. He looked right at them. One of the bikers, a tall guy with a scruffy beard and a jacket patched with the name Bull, noticed Elon almost immediately. His gaze landed on the MAGA hat, and his laughter stopped. The atmosphere shifted as he walked toward Elon, his boots echoing in the now quiet diner. Well, Bull said, his voice cutting through the room. Looks like someone wandered a little too far from Hollywood. His buddies chuckled, but it wasn't a friendly kind of laughter. The waitress froze mid-step, her face tight with unease. Elon looked up, calm as ever. Hollywood? He asked with a small smile. Not quite. Bull stepped closer, his shadow falling over the table. That hat, he said, his voice sharp. It's a statement. You sure you're in the right place? Elon picked up his coffee, taking a slow sip before answering. Sometimes, he said evenly. A hat is just a hat. The room fell silent. Every diner seemed to hold their breath, their forks frozen in mid-air. Bull leaned in closer, his face hard. Not here. It's not, he said. Out here. That hat says something. So, what's it saying today, Mr. Big Shot? Elon met Bull's gaze without flinching. Maybe, he said, setting down his cup. It says more about the person looking at it than the person wearing it. For a moment, Bull didn't reply. The bikers exchanged glances, unsure whether this was about to end in a fight or something else entirely. The air was thick with tension, and yet something about Elon's calm demeanor made even Bull pause. Bull squinted at Elon, his jaw working as if he were chewing on a tough piece of leather. The other bikers leaned forward, their collective tension like a spring coiled tight. The hum of the fluorescent lights in the diner was the only sound breaking the silence. Even the clock seemed to tick more slowly. You got a smart mouth, Bull finally said, his voice low and gravelly, like a dog warning you not to come closer. Elon didn't flinch. He leaned back in the booth, resting one arm casually over the seat. So I've been told, he said, his tone measured, like he wasn't sitting across from a man who could crush a skull with one hand. Bull's eyes narrowed, his hand twitching on the edge of the table. The waitress, still clutching her coffee pot, had frozen in place. Her eyes darted nervously between Elon and Bull, like she was trying to decide if she should intervene or run for cover. You think you're funny? Bull growled, taking a step closer to Elon's table. Not particularly, Elon replied, but I think you're assuming a lot about me. Why don't we skip the part where this gets ugly, and I buy you and your crew some coffee? He gestured toward the waitress with a faint smile. What do you say? The offer hung in the air like smoke after a gunshot. The other bikers exchanged glances, their confusion evident. Bull, however, wasn't laughing. He slammed a fist down on the table, hard enough to make the silverware jump. A gasp came from one of the elderly diners in the corner, and a man in a plaid jacket lowered his newspaper, his face pale as he took in the scene. You think I need your charity? Bull said, leaning in close. His face was inches from Elon's now, the veins in his neck bulging. No, Elon said calmly. I think everyone needs a good cup of coffee now and then, and you seem like you could use one. The smallest biker in the back, the one wearing a leather jacket with frayed patches, snorted. He quickly covered his mouth when Bull shot him a glare. But the damage was done. The tension had cracked, if only slightly. Bull leaned back, crossing his arms over his chest as he studied Elon. He looked like he was deciding whether to laugh or flip the table. You're either real brave or real stupid, he said finally. Maybe a little of both, Elon said, his expression unchanging. For a moment, it looked like Bull might walk away. But then, with a sudden motion, he reached down and snatched the MAGA hat off Elon's head. The diner erupted in gasps as Bull held it up like it was some kind of battle trophy. This, Bull said, his voice rising, isn't welcome around here. Elon stayed completely still. He didn't reach for the hat or raise his voice. Instead, he tilted his head slightly, like he was considering Bull's words. If it bothers you that much, keep it, Elon said at last. His tone was soft, almost casual, but there was a weight to his words. I've got another one at home. The simplicity of the statement left Bull momentarily stunned. He glanced at the hat in his hand, then back at Elon. The room was so quiet you could hear the sizzle from the kitchen grill. Even the waitress had stopped her slow retreat toward the door, her wide eyes fixed on the scene. You messing with me? Bull asked, his voice quieter now. Not at all, Elon said, taking a slow sip of his coffee. I figure if it means that much to you, you've earned it. Call it a souvenir. Bull's mouth opened as if to say something, but no words came out. His grip on the hat tightened for a moment, then loosened. One of the other bikers, the one who had snickered earlier, murmured, "Man's got a point." The words seemed to break whatever spell had been holding Bull in place. With a short, sharp laugh, he tossed the hat back onto the table. Bull then leaned forward, his large hands gripping the edge of the table. His gaze bore into Elon, as if trying to pry answers loose. You wear this thing like it means something, he said, his voice gravelly but quieter now. So tell me why. The room stilled, the ambient clatter of cutlery and low chatter fading into an expectant silence. Even the bikers, previously smirking and sneering, were suddenly paying attention. Elon hesitated, not out of uncertainty, but to choose his words carefully. He touched the brim of his hat, his thumb brushing the edge as if recalling something distant but vivid. It's not just a hat, he began, his tone calm but deliberate. It's a reminder. Bull squinted, his skepticism clear. A reminder of what? Rich people problems? Elon chuckled lightly, though his expression turned earnest. No, a reminder of where I come from and where we're all going, if we let ourselves get there. The waitress paused mid-stride with a coffee pot, her eyes flicking between Elon and Bull. The tension in the diner had shifted, less confrontational, more curious. Elon leaned back slightly, his fingers still resting on the brim of the hat. A retired engineer gave me this, he said, his voice softening. He'd spent his life working on space shuttle systems, one of those guys who tackled the kinds of problems most people would call impossible. When he retired, he handed me this hat and said, keep working. Don't let them tell you it can't be done. The room seemed to exhale all at once. Bull's frown deepened, but it wasn't a scowl anymore. He crossed his arms, leaning back, as if weighing Elon's words. So what? Another biker piped up, his voice laced with defiance. That's just one guy. What's it got to do with us? Elon's eyes scanned the group, landing briefly on each member before he answered. Because that engineer wasn't special in the way people think of special. He didn't come from money, and he didn't have some genius-level IQ. He just believed in hard work and innovation. That's what made him extraordinary, and it's what makes all of us extraordinary, too. The younger biker, the one with tattoos creeping up his neck, scoffed. Yeah, right. You're a billionaire telling us we're all the same. Pull the other one. Elon nodded, acknowledging the doubt. I get it. From where you're sitting, I probably look like I've got nothing in common with you. But here's the thing. I've been broke, too. Slept on my office floor. Ate nothing but hot dogs because they were cheap. I started from the bottom, just like you. Bull raised a hand to stop him. Hold on. You expect us to believe you've had it rough? Yeah, Elon said plainly. And I know you've had it rough, too. That's why I'm saying this. We can spend all day measuring who's had it harder, or we can focus on what we're building, what we're leaving behind for the next generation. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. The room was silent again. Even the clinking of dishes in the kitchen seemed to pause. Bull stared at Elon for a long moment, his expression unreadable. All right, he said finally. Say we believe you. What's your point? Elon smiled faintly, the kind of smile that carried more conviction than charm. My point is, we've got more in common than you think. You build bikes with your hands. I build rockets with mine. But the drive? The passion? That's the same. And if you're willing, I'd like to show you what that looks like. The bikers exchanged skeptical glances. Bull narrowed his eyes. What are you offering? Exactly? A tour. Elon said simply. Come to one of my Tesla facilities. See what we're building. You might not agree with everything I do, but I think you'll appreciate the effort, the craftsmanship, And who knows? You might even get some ideas for your bikes. The younger biker laughed incredulously. You're serious? You're inviting us to your factory? Dead serious. Elon replied. You've got nothing to lose but a couple of hours. And if you still hate me afterward, I'll buy you all lunch. Deal? Bull's lips twitched, almost forming a grin, though he quickly masked it with a gruff laugh. You're a bold one. I'll give you that. He looked at his crew, then back at Elon. All right, we'll take you up on it. But if this is some kind of PR stunt, it's not. Elon interrupted. Just a chance to show you what's possible when we stop judging each other by what's on the surface. Bull nodded slowly, his tough exterior still intact but with a glimmer of intrigue. Fine, we'll see what you've got. The bikers stood, their boots thudding against the linoleum as they made their way out of the diner. Bull paused at the door, turning back to Elon. Don't make us regret this, Musk. Elon smiled, tipping his hat. I won't. As the door swung shut behind them, the waitress approached with wide eyes. That was unexpected, she said. Elon chuckled, leaving a generous tip on the table. Sometimes, all it takes is a little understanding, he said, standing up. As he walked out into the sunlight, the hum of conversation began to return to the diner, the patrons buzzing about what they just witnessed. The bikers cautiously accepted Elon's invitation, their curiosity outweighing their skepticism. Riding in the futuristic Cybertruck felt like stepping into another world, one far removed from the worn leather and roaring engines of their bikes. The hum of the electric vehicle was barely audible, a stark contrast to the growl of their Harleys. When they arrived at the Tesla facility, the bikers hesitated at the entrance. The sleek, glass-fronted building loomed ahead, its modern design alien to the dusty Texas landscape they knew so well. Elon swiped his card, and the doors slid open with a soft whoosh, revealing a space buzzing with activity. Inside, robotic arms worked alongside human engineers, assembling electric vehicles with an elegance that seemed almost futuristic. Huge screens displayed production metrics, and the air carried a faint hum of technology at work. The bikers exchanged uneasy glances, unsure what to make of this strange, advanced world. Welcome to the future, Elon said with a smile, motioning for them to follow. He led them through the factory, explaining the purpose behind each section with a casual enthusiasm. The battery assembly line produced sleek, efficient modules, designed to power cars and homes alike. Rows of solar panels were being tested for durability, offering a vision of affordable, sustainable energy for off-grid communities. This isn't just about fancy cars for the wealthy, Elon said, raising his voice slightly to be heard over the machinery. It's about solving real problems, climate change, energy access, and the way we move around our world. This is for everyone, not just the people with big wallets. The bikers followed, their skepticism fading as curiosity took over. A wiry young biker with a red bandana spoke up, pointing at a sleek car prototype. What's that for? Elon grinned. That's a prototype for an affordable electric car. Something for families who thought sustainable vehicles were out of reach. We're trying to make this tech accessible to everyone. Bull, the grizzled leader of the group, finally broke his silence. You really think all this can make a difference? Climate change, energy problems, it's a lot bigger than one factory. Elon stopped and turned to face Bull directly. I do, he said firmly. But it's not just about the technology. It's about showing people what's possible. When you see change happening, real, tangible change, it makes you believe that more is possible. That's how we start to fix things, one step at a time. The bikers were quiet, their earlier bravado replaced by reflection. Even Bull, who had been the most resistant, seemed to soften as he listened. Elon continued the tour, showing them the charging stations being tested for durability and the research lab where engineers were refining energy storage systems that could transform entire communities. This is wild, muttered the biker with the bandana, his eyes wide as he watched a robotic arm weld with precise, rhythmic movements. Elon chuckled. It's something, isn't it? The real magic isn't just the machines, though. It's the people behind them, engineers, scientists, and dreamers all working toward a shared goal. This isn't about gadgets, it's about creating a better future. By the time they finished the tour, the bikers were no longer wary outsiders. They stood at the facility's exit, visibly changed by what they'd seen. Bull turned to Elon, extending a calloused hand. You're an odd guy, Musk, he said with a small smile. But I'll admit, this place makes you think. I respect what you're doing here. Elon shook his hand firmly. Thanks. Bull. And if you ever want to see more, or have ideas of your own, you're always welcome here. The Cybertruck rolled back into the diner's parking lot, its sleek frame casting long shadows in the late afternoon sun. The bikers climbed out, quieter now than when they had arrived. The dusty lot felt smaller somehow, the world outside the Tesla facility less expansive. They stood in a loose circle near their motorcycles, each lost in thought. Even Bull, who had dominated the conversation earlier, seemed reflective. Elon stepped out last, leaning casually against the truck, breaking the silence. He said, "I've been to a lot of places, met a lot of people, but today was different. You reminded me why it's important to have these conversations, not just about technology, but about where we're headed as a society." Bull glanced up, his expression unreadable. "You talk a good game, Musk," he said gruffly. "But I'll admit, you showed us something today. Made me think. And that doesn't happen often." Elon chuckled. "Thinking's the first step. Action comes next." One of the younger bikers, the one with the red bandana, spoke up hesitantly. "Do you really think all this tech stuff can fix the world? Like, for real?" Elon's face grew serious. "I think technology is a tool. It's not about the machines or the gadgets. It's about how we use them. We can build walls, or we can build bridges. The choice is always ours." The group fell into a contemplative silence. Finally, Bull broke it by extending his hand to Elon. "You're all right, Musk," he said, his voice gruff but sincere. "We don't agree on everything, but I respect you for putting your money where your mouth is." Elon took the handshake firmly. "And I respect you for listening. That's the hardest part." The bikers mounted their motorcycles, the roar of engines breaking the stillness of the lot. One by one, they pulled away, leaving Elon standing by his truck. Watching them go, Bull was the last to leave, giving Elon a brief nod before revving his engine and disappearing down the road. As Elon climbed back into the Cybertruck, he paused, gazing out at the horizon. It wasn't every day that worlds collided so unexpectedly, but when they did, they reminded him why he did what he did. Progress wasn't just about building machines or sending rockets into space. It was about connecting people, even in the most unlikely circumstances. Sliding the keycard into place, the truck hummed to life. He drove off, leaving the diner behind. But carrying the day's lessons forward today wasn't just about technology or motorcycles. It was about understanding, respect, and the bridges we build in the spaces between. Because in the end, it's not the tools we create that shape the future. It's the choices we make with them.